Hey guys, Stephanie with AmericanMuscle.com here with a review of BMR's rear lower control arm relocation brackets fitting all 2005 to 2014 Mustangs. BMR's rear lower control arm relocation brackets are going to be a good option for the lowered S197 owners that are looking for a way to keep the geometry correct in the rear suspension and create a better angle for the lower control arms. A better angle with lower control arms means less wheel hop and better traction. Traction and wheel hop are issues that the factory suspension allows for, and the more power and torque that your car is making, the worse the problem seems to get. Lower control arms are very beneficial to help with these issues, but if you've lowered your S197, then you might still be seeing a lot of these characteristics in your suspension, and so the relocation brackets are going to put the lower control arms at a better angle to correct these issues. These relocation brackets are specifically designed to work with BMR's lower control arms, but they can still be used with the stock control arms as well, but modifications may be necessary for the install if you're still rocking the factory arms. Relocation brackets are generally used more with aftermarket control arms, since the control arms are the first place to start. And like I mentioned, relocation brackets are almost necessary for a proper setup if you've lowered your car at all, because it can be hard to get the correct angle out of the control arm otherwise. With control arms, it really is all about the angle. Once you get the correct setup in the rear, you're looking at gaining benefits like better launches, smooth cornering and power delivery, and of course better performance at the track as well. A lot of times lower control arms are not right without these relocation brackets, which is why these things are so important. These brackets are pretty hardy. They're made from 3/16-inch steel plates that are CNC'd and laser cut, so they're very solid and can support high horsepower and torque. They're also powder coated for a nice finish, and yes, these are going to be visible under the car. These brackets basically act as an extension for the factory mounting location, and they're going to move the lower control arm down so it will hang lower. But like I said, this is so the lower control arm can have a better angle and perform better, but the trade-off's going to be some lower hanging suspension components. This just means that you'll have to watch your ground clearance, especially with lowered cars. Depending on how low you're sitting, certain situations can be tricky, and if you aren't careful, you may find yourself bumping these things on the pavement at certain points, like pulling into a steep driveway, on a curb, or at a gas station. So just be aware of that. Personally, I think the benefits that these brackets offer far outweigh the downsides of having to be a little bit more careful. And we are going to install these for you to see, so you can check out what I mean in a minute here. One thing to keep in mind is that the lower control arm relocation brackets will help performance-wise with things like better traction, better hooking, and better handling, but they are only one component of a handful of other pieces that all work together. If you're really looking to improve things in the rear, there are a handful of other components that you should look into as well, like aftermarket lower control arms if you don't already have them, and an adjustable upper control arm setup or a panhard bar, just to name a few things. But these are still a finishing step for some aftermarket lower control arms that will certainly help to eliminate even more of the wheel hop and get the rear more stable, allowing for harder launches and keeping the suspension more consistent. As far as price, these brackets are going to cost a little over $100, and these are on the less expensive side of the offerings. Ford Racing, Steeda, and Whiteline also have some options too if you want to check those out, but just keep in mind the brand of lower control arms that you have or plan on getting, since sometimes crossing brands doesn't work out too well. So the install here is really pretty easy, and I'll give you a quick overview of the install so you can decide if this is something you'd like to try for yourself or not. You are going to need to get the rear of the car in the air and remove the rear wheels, of course. The lower control arm will need to be moved so you have access to the area, so the lower control arm bolt has to be backed out. The relocation bracket just goes right over the OE mount, and you can use the gold bolt spacer to hold the bracket to the OE mounting location, but don't tighten it down yet. The short 14mm bolt and nut from the hardware packet go in the upper mount of the bracket, and you can tighten and torque that down like the directions say to. After that, it's just a matter of positioning the control arm into the desired location. You do have an option of 3 mounting locations here, and then insert the new bolt and nut and torque that down. Both sides install the same way, and overall, this is a 1-wrench install on our scale here and should take about 2 hours to complete. Wrapping things up here, these lower control arm relocation brackets from BMR are a quick and easy way to make your lower control arms even more effective by positioning them differently than the stock mount can. They work perfectly with BMR lower control arms, and they're a very solid bracket that'll hold up to higher horsepower and torque ratings. You can check these relocation brackets out some more online for yourself, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.